right, in today's lesson, we are going to talk about the substitution method for solving a system of equations. So a substitution method is when you solve a system by substituting one equation into the other one after solving for the variables. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to solve one equation for x or y. Then we're going to substitute that expression into the other equation and solve for the variable. Then we're going to substitute the answer into the new equation from step 1 and solve for the other variable. This sounds complicated. It's really not that complicated, but there are quite a few steps that you kind of have to make sure that you're paying attention to. Okay, so the easiest way to kind of describe this is to say that we're going to set the two equations equal to each other. Okay, we're going to set them equal. So we're going to take equation 1, right? Y equals 4x minus 1. We're just going to take the 4x minus 1 part. And we're going to plug this equation into y. Okay, so it's going to equal the other equation, 2x minus 5. Okay, so if we do this, what we can do now is solve for x. Okay, because I can just solve this equation for x. The way we do that is we take the smaller x value and we move it so 4 minus 2 is 2x minus 1 equals negative 5. Then I can add 1 to get 2x equals negative 4. Then I can divide by 2. X equals negative 2. Okay? So I have a value for x. All right? That's my x value. All right? Then I can take that x value and plug it into either equation and get my answer. Okay, get my y value. So I'm going to take this x, I'm going to put it 4 times negative 2, because that's where the x is, minus 5. Okay, or minus 1, I apologize. Minus 1, my bad. 4 times negative 2 is 8, negative 8. Negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. So my y value is negative 9. You need to understand that you can do this. You need to understand how to practice doing it, okay? But we can prove this with a simple plug-in on our calculator. 4x minus 1, 2x minus 5. 4x minus 1, 2x minus 5. We can look at our graph. Okay. We know that we can go second trace. 5 gets us to our intersect. Is that my first line? Yes. Second line, yes. Negative 2, negative 9. At the end of the day, obviously the easiest way, and I've said this many times, the easiest way to solve any of these systems questions is to plug them in the calculator. Get them to y-intercept equations, plug them in the calculator. That's the simplest way to do this, but you do need to understand this method. Okay? Now to do the substitution method, we don't even have to change this to a standard form equation. because if y equals 6x, anywhere we see y, I can just simply put 6x. I can substitute 6x in for y, okay? So if I did that, I would have 2x plus 3 times 6x equals negative 20. 3 times 6x is 18x. 2 plus 18x is 20x equals negative 20. If I divide by 20, x equals negative 1. So my solution, x value is going to be negative 1. Then I can simply take this x value and plug it in anywhere here. So let's plug it into our first equation. Y equals 6 times negative 1. That's going to tell me that y equals negative 6. Okay, you need to understand how to do this. It is very important. Okay, but it's also important to know that I can also take this, convert this to a y-intercept. So I would have y equals negative 2/3 x minus 20 over 3, because negative 20 divided by 3. I can take those two equations, plug them in. Negative 2/3 x minus 20 divided by 3 second trace, intersect, yes, 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 negative 1, negative 6. If you were doing a multiple choice test or something that you were timed in, do it in the calculator. It's faster, but you do need to practice doing it this way, okay? All right, let's look at this one. We're going to take x plus 9. We're going to plug it in where we see y. So I'm going to have 3x plus 8 times x plus 9 equals negative 5. Okay, I'm going to distribute this. 3x plus 8x plus 72 equals negative 5. 11x plus 72 equals negative 5. Subtract 72. 11x equals negative 77. Divide by 11. My x equals negative 7. Then I take my negative 7, plug it in here. Negative 7 plus 9 is 2. Okay? If we converted this to standard form or to y-intercept form, this would read y equals negative 3 over 8x minus 5 over 8. We can plug that in the calculator. X plus 9, y equals negative, let's see what was my, negative 3 over 8x, 3 over 8x minus 5 over 8. Second trace, intersect, the Yes, yes, -7, 2. Same answer. They both work. Both methods work. One of them is faster. That's okay. All right, this one says x equals 4y minus 7 or plus 7. So I'm going to plug this, instead of plugging this into the y, I'm going to plug it into the x. So let's erase this stuff here so we have a little room to work. Okay, so 2 times 4y plus 7 minus 6y equals 12. Distribute 8y plus 14 minus 6y equals 12. 8y minus 6y is 2y. Subtract 14. Divide by 2. Y equals -1. So in my solution, my y value is going to be -1. Then I can take that y value and plug it into my first equation, because it says x equals 4 times -1 plus 7. That's -4 plus 7, which is which is positive 3. 3, -1. Okay? All right, this one is a lot harder to put in the calculator because I would have to change this to a y-intercept equation, which you can, all right? If we were to do that, I would subtract my x, subtract the 4, divide by 4. It's a lot harder to do, but I can kind of show you here. Y plus 7. So I've got to get y on by itself. So actually I can just say -7 on both sides here. So I have x minus 7 equals 4y. So 1/4 x minus 7/4 equals y. That's my first equation. Y equals 1/4 x minus 7/y. My second equation would be 2x minus 6y. Subtract 2x. Divide by -6. Y equals 1/3 x minus 2. That's the two equations that I would plug in. Like I said, you can just move this, now that it's by itself, you can just move it to the other side. It doesn't change anything. So you can change it to over here. This is complicated in itself, so sometimes the substitution method is a little bit easier, but 1/4 x minus 7/4 1/3 x minus 2 yes 3 -1 3 -1. Pretty straightforward stuff, really, at the end of the day. right? And we can do all of these that we want. They're going to be all done the exact same way, okay? So just so you understand that that's how it works. Good luck. If you have any questions or you need to rewatch it, feel free to do so.